Hey, good afternoon and welcome. This is Suzette Speaks live on your radio. Wagwan, wagwan. We are here. It's a beautiful Fire Friday. I missed y'all yesterday. I was out at the city of Tamarack doing an event for Commissioner Crystal Patterson. Shout out to Crystal Patterson, the newly elected, or not so newly elected. This November, she was elected in that city to serve on a commission seat, and I'm so grateful that she has invited me, or had invited me, to MC Breaking Barriers in Small Business event of hers. And I'm grateful that, she left it in my capable hands to MC a full day of speakers and a program that was supposed to help people with small businesses to rise to the new level. We had two panel discussions, one about just getting started and another one about doing business with the government, which was really good, really empowering, and really impactful. So I'm really grateful that I had her gracing to join them yesterday. I am also grateful for another event I was able to host. For those of you who are just joining, I got to tell you a little bit about what's going on in the community. This is Suzette Speaks. I'm a TV host, attorney, radio host here on Voice of the Caribbean Radio. I come to you every Thursday and Friday. Of course, I'm telling you why I was not here. I have to put in my, my excuse slip to my listeners, because I know you guys are very faithful in listening to what's going on in the community. And I'm really grateful that you guys are always rocking with me. And like I said, I come on every Thursday, normally Thursday, Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. However, this week I was so busy hosting community events. I just wanted to give a shout out to CTJ 360 Photo Booth. The company name is CTJ 360 Photo Booth. They had me host their business shower. It was actually a 2-year anniversary party. And I'm really grateful to, have them, have me participate as their MC and hostess. So this incredible lady, Tamika James, who has this 2-year-old business, she invited me to the city of Miramar. We had, beautiful music. Shout out to, I think it was DJ Easy Ryan. Oh my gosh, he was amazing. And lots of community members who have been supporting her business over the last 2 years came together. I would say about 150 throughout the evening. And we toasted. We had also a panel discussion. I know you can hear me out of breath. Shout out to people watching online. Damon Blissett, Pastor Damon Blissett is like, Sue, get your breath. No, I'm always rushing in and out of work to come here for my second job. So I might be a little bit out of breath, but I also wanted to let you know that I wanted to focus. First of all, shout out to my Haitians representing all over South Florida. If you know, it's almost Haitian Flag Day. I think the official date is May 18th. But if you have been driving around these South Florida streets, what's up Miami, what's up Fort Lauderdale, you have seen the Haitian diaspora, right? Representing with their flags, their flag shirts, their flags outside of their cars, even driving today to the studio. I saw my Haitian brothers and sisters that were rocking their flags. And even yesterday, I took a walk. I was trying to kind of, unwind from the busy schedule I've had for the last couple of days. And I was actually walking along a waterfront, canal front. In South Florida, we got all these waterways all over the place. And, you find a little path off the, a little hidden off the beaten path kind of waterscape. And I walked it yesterday and I saw a bunch of kids, like high school students with their Haitian flag colors, like Haitian flag shirts. And I was like, is it Haitian Flag Day? And they were like, yes. And I was like, okay, ça passe. I got to give them some love and show them that, we are one family, one community, one destiny, right? So big up all my Haitians celebrating Haitian Flag Day. Be ready. All right, because I heard the music on the streets yesterday. I seen the flags outside the windows yesterday. And plus, my Haitians just have a lot of pride in general. So we're just grateful. And we're going to celebrate along with them here at Voice of the Caribbean. I also wanted to take some time out today. And greetings for everybody watching online. Shout out to everybody watching on the app. Y'all saw me getting ready, rushing upstairs as usual. You can download this app. Voice of the Caribbean can be found in the App Store. Of course, you're listening to us in Fort Lauderdale. What's up? 92.7 FM in Hollywood, 96.1 FM in Miami, 94.3 FM. First of all, it's so hot. Let me just tell you right now, South Florida, we have warmed up to the past to the point of like roasting. You know, I love a little summer breeze. It's summertime earlier now, but my goodness, yesterday it was 90 some degrees when I left my event in the city of Tamarack hosting the Breaking Barriers in Small Business symposium. You can call it expo. It was fantastic. And again, I'm grateful for Commissioner Crystal C. Patterson from City of Tamarack for inviting me to be her MC for the day. And again, shout out to CTJ360photobooth.com for having me host their fantastic business shower. So on to business today. So what I have lined up today, I was going to talk, you know, pop news, of course, the Diddy trial. I don't know how many of y'all are following the Diddy trial. I can't even read some of the testimony. It is so graphic and really just in my heart disgusting as far as what Cassie's testimony has been so far. But I'm going to pause on that because May is also Mental Health Awareness Month. Did you guys know that? There's a lot of things that are being celebrated in May, and one of them include Mental Health Awareness Month. So I have a wonderful practitioner who I asked to call in because we got to move, you know, the needle forward when it comes to our mental health. I could talk news. I wanted to talk a little bit about also the pop news regarding the artist slash streamer DDG and the allegations made by his child's mother, the Little Mermaid, you know, Halle Bailey, and some of the lessons that we can learn from that story. But I'm going to take a pause on some of the news, the Diddy news, this news, that news, to do a mental health wellness check. And again, I have a practitioner here who's on the line who I have asked. She's actually out of town, and I still asked her, please, can you call in? And she said yes. So I'm going to, without further ado, bring her on just so she can give us some tips about this whole mental health challenge. I think a lot of us, you know, are facing. We want to put our mental health first, folks. If you're not feeling well, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling overwhelmed, that's a natural part of being a human being. But there are also parts of you that can be treated if addressed properly by the right practitioner. So I wanted to take this show, and Miss Sandy, or her name is Miss Sandra, but I call her Sandy. But her name is Miss Sandra Alvarado Raymond. She's a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm gonna bring her on because she is on the front lines of working with people to improve their mental health. She's here in Florida, and you can find her at Palante, that's Palante. I think she has Caribbean roots. I'm gonna ask her about that. And Palante movingforwardcoaching.com, and she is the expert. So let me, without further ado, bring on Miss Sandra. Can you hear me? I hope I get the switches right. Can you hear me, my darling? Good afternoon. Sandra, are you there? I hear you. Wait. Go ahead again. Sandra, can you hear me? Good afternoon. You're on the, it says on the air. Sandra, good afternoon. Can you hear me, love? I put the speaker up and put the phone lines look like they're on. All right, Sandra, this is what I was gonna say. Let me take you off the air and let me answer the phone separate for you and see if we can get it moving and popping. Sandra, if you can hear me, call back, please. Let me give her a little signal to call back because I really want to get the conversation. Sandy, I wonder if she put me on hold. Sandy, you can't put me on hold, man. Sandy, you have to call back and go through. This is live radio, folks. This is Suzette Speaks Show. I guess I might have to talk some Diddy and some DDG. I want to know your opinion on these top cases. Right now, we've heard the testimony of former girlfriend of 10 years from Sean Diddy Cole's Chan. That's so, you hear the accent, Chan. Blame it on my Jamaican parents. Sean. All right, in all seriousness, Sean Diddy Combs, who is standing trial on a myriad of charges. The testimony kicked off with earlier this week, I believe that was Monday, testimony kicked off with a alleged worker who was hired by Mr. Combs, allegedly, and his girlfriend, then girlfriend Cassie Ventura, in order to perform, acts according to Miss Ventura against her will. And the allegations are quite damning, if I could say. So when I look at some of the testimony that has been shared, of course, first you see the prosecutors questioning Miss Ventura, and then we had the cross-examination, which is Diddy's defense team, which was yesterday, going back and forth with Miss Ventura, trying to poke holes in her allegations that she spent 10 plus years in an abusive relationship with Mr. Sean Diddy Combs. Now, what I want to point out about this, and it's what is really key, is that we have to understand that although some of the salacious and very lowbrow doesn't even encapsulate, doesn't capture some of the things I'm reading as far as what Cassie Ventura, the former girlfriend of Sean Diddy Combs, shared while she's on the stand. One of the things we have to understand is that there are charges that have to be proved up, right? Someone can do very bad things, but you have to show the law that they are breaking, right? The behavior may be disgusting. The behavior may be abhorrent. The behavior may be, such, very, very low and unimaginable, unthinkable behavior. It may be domestic violence, in fact. It may be, acts that break social norms. But did he break the law? And specifically, what is he being charged with? Is the evidence that has been presented, does it prove those specific allegations? I want people to understand it's not just because he is on trial, you can say he's guilty because, he's had this clearly very tumultuous relationship with his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. But we saw throughout the week, now it's the second day of cross-examination of Cassie Ventura by Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers. The prosecution went first. They presented what was a very, very disturbing picture, clearly a tumultuous relationship, clearly at times violent according to her testimony, and the allegations have to be proven. So the defense attorneys today continue to attempt to portray Ventura as a loving partner. And this is the thing I've been seeing online, that she's a willing participant in what has been going on. And I think people have to do real research and studying the mindset of domestic violence victims before they start to make conclusions about who is right, who is wrong, and why people stay. I'm going to try to bring up my my fantastic speaker again. Let me try it one more time. We have a mental health practitioner on the line. And I didn't ask her to come and talk about domestic violence. Of course, the Diddy trial is the top news of the day. This is the Suzette Speak Show coming to you live. And I'm trying to work in all topics, but I really asked her to come on to speak about maintaining our mental health. So without further ado, let me welcome Miss Sandra Alvarado. How are you? Sandra, Raymond, Sandy, can you hear me? Sandy, good afternoon. Sandy, I'm going to turn on every button on this thing. Sandy, can you hear me? Sandy. Sandy, are you speaking into the mic going once? Sandy, are you speaking into the mic going twice? Can you hear me, Sandy? I've turned up every switchboard, every line. Can you hear me, Sandy? I can hear you in the background. I think you're on hold for some reason. Sandy, I can hear background noise, but I need you to call me and come on clear. Can you hear me, love? I've literally turned on every single switch on this board, on this on board in the studio. Sandy, good afternoon. How are you, my love? Sandy, good afternoon. Oh my goodness. I would want it to have a wonderful discussion about mental health, and hopefully I can get Sandy on board and on the air. Sandy, good afternoon. Sandy, good afternoon. Can you hear me? It's saying on the air, and I can't see you, my love. Well, okay. That means the line is working. My All right, so with the technical difficulties of the Suzette Speak Show, don't worry. We also want to remind you that Memorial Day Monday is the big soccer match. Of course, Voice of the Caribbean is sponsoring a fantastic celebrity soccer, aka football match, that is going to be at the Lauderhill Sports Park. And we are excited to bring you what will be a one-of-a-kind match where we will be featuring top artists from the Caribbean and the diaspora so that you can enjoy a fun day with your family, with your friends, at the sports park on Memorial Day Monday. So you can get your tickets now. Of course, you can go to voiceofthecaribbean.com, check out all the details as to where you can buy these tickets. Of course, some of the biggest artists in reggae music will be playing soccer. I saw Dexter Daps on our Instagram. Of course, I saw Sizzla Kalungi also doing ads on our Instagram for the big soccer match. But of course, tickets are $30. Children under 12 are free. And you can come and enjoy a fun day at the park. There will be lots of food and drinks for sale. And security will be tight. And it's also presented by Commissioner Richard Campbell, City of Lauderhill. Thank you again, Commissioner Richard Campbell. The celebrity soccer match, artists versus media selectors, will be held on Memorial Day Monday. That is May 26th. Gates open at 12. The game time is 2 p.m. We are expecting a big turnout, so make sure you get your tickets now. Some of these celebrities include Dexter Daps, Baby Sham, Usain Bolt, Mad Cobra, Winnie Wonder, Lukie D, I-Octane, Sparga Benz, Christopher Martin, Joshi, Agent, Sasko, my favorite, and many more. It's going to be a fun day. Mega Bantan, Lali, Tony Curtis, Jixie King. Of course, the selectors are going to include Futa Hype, really? Futa Hype, Kareem Hype, Gandhi, Tony Mataran, oh my God, Super Twitch. Everybody's gonna be out in Lauderhill in full force. Listen, Memorial Day is some of the best times I've had here in South Florida. We are always turn up. Make sure you get tickets for your things early, right? Because when Memorial Day comes up, sometimes you kind of get lost in the sauce. There's so many events going on around town. But we ask that you would consider joining us at the celebrity soccer, aka football match, coming up on Memorial Day Monday, May 26th. Gates open at 12. Again, tickets are only $30. Kids under 12 now. Bring your kids. Kids under 12 are free. And of course, food and drink will be on sale. Some of the top selectors and celebrities, as well as artists, will be in the building. Again, that will be at the Lauderhill Sports Complex. I want to say a big thank you again to Commissioner Crystal Patterson, who had my back, had me hosting a wonderful day of business, right? Encouraging small business in Tamarack. And I'll leave you with this piece. The city of Tamarack announced yesterday at this business expo, it was just voted on by the city commissioner there. Why am I telling you about it? Because they have a new grant program, not only for Tamarack residents, but for businesses outside of Tamarack. If you qualify for the business grant, $10,000 business grant dollars. You don't pay it back, grant dollars. For $10,000 at the city of Tamarack for Tamarack residents, and $5,000 for non-residents. You don't even have to live in the city of Tamarack. If you have a business, you can apply for $5,000 in the city of Tamarack. I appreciate you. Let's see if we can get the phone on the line with my special guest, Miss Sandra Alvarado Raymond. Sandy, can you hear me? Good afternoon. Sandy, good afternoon. Yes. I'm fantastic. I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties. What I'm gonna do is, we have a hard break here at 1:30. Can you hold fast? Or okay, I got permission from from my supervisor here, Mikey Mike in the building, helping me with my technical difficulties. He said we can run through the break. Okay, thank you, Mikey. The station appreciates it, and we appreciate it because I wanted so bad to have you on to talk about mental health. Of course, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we wanted to bring you on so that you can enlighten us with your expertise. I see you're calling on two lines, so I'm going to hang up the second line. Miss Sandra, again, Alvarado Raymond is here. She is with a company called Palante, Palante, dash Moving Forward Therapy and Coaching. You can find them online, www.palante. I feel like that's a Spanish word or phrase. But before we get into all of that, how you doing, Miss Sandy? Or Miss Sandra Alvarado Raymond?
Yeah, people call me Sandy and Sandra. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on the show. This is a really important month. And the name of my company is Palante Moving Forward. And yes, it is a combination name where Palante means moving forward. And we're committed. I'm here in Miramar, a virtual licensed mental health counselor. And we are committed through this platform of empowering individuals and community and providing them, holistic, compassionate mental health service. So with that being said, this month it's really important to come and reach out to the community and let them know about mental health.
I'm so grateful you're here. I know you were traveling. We are actually, in full disclosure, great colleagues, and we see each other around town. You're a mover and shaker. I want people to know that you really do care about the community and you really are involved in the community. And the third time's a charm. Thank you to everybody. We're pushing through the commercial break. Don't worry, you guys. We want to make sure we bring you quality radio. Just want to do a quick reset. Hey everybody, welcome. This is the Suzette Speak Show. I come to you live every Thursday and Friday. Hey, I missed you yesterday because I was out there in these streets hosting events, but I'm here today with a special guest, Miss Sandra Alvarado Raymond, and she is here as a mental health practitioner. She's a licensed mental health counselor, and she's going to enlighten us with some do's and don'ts and some things we need to think about to maintain our mental health first. Make sure we do that self-check. Oftentimes we just keep going, pushing through the pain, especially in communities of color. We love to say, all right, pray about it, move on, suck it up, move on. But we know that is not, the best remedy. So she's here to provide some tips for us today, and we're grateful to have her. So Sandra, I got to call you Sandy. I'm sorry. But
Sandy, I love Sandy. I like Sandy, and my clients call me Sandy too.
Okay, fantastic. Awesome. Well, tell me why it's so important that May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and why as a nation, even around the globe, why does dedicating this month, still matter today?
Well, Suzette, I have to tell you that to this day, 1 in 4 of U.S. adults experience mental health condition in any given year. And close to 1 in 5 has been diagnosed with depression and anxiety at any point of their life. So what Mental Health Awareness Month is kind of spotlighting it so we could keep those numbers in front of us. But most of all is to normalize what we're doing today here, normalize the conversation, and remind people to look for help the same way we do it for our heart or we do it for any physical problem that we have. And so that is basically why during the month of May, many of us in this field are out here talking to you, doing workshops to bring it home and let them know that Mental Health Awareness Month is so important to remind us that we need to take care of our mental health and balance our mental health.
Amen, sis. Amen. I think, again, I don't want any of our listeners. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I want you to be well. And that's not that we don't feel sadness at times. That's not that we don't feel low at times. But sometimes it is not quite right. There is an imbalance of some sort, and it's okay to get help. So I wanted to talk to you about that feeling that we get, that we know we're not okay. And I wanted to ask you, because I've heard you say it before. Again, this is the Suzette Speak Show Live. My special guest today is Miss Sandra Alvarado Raymond. She's a licensed marriage mental health counselor. I'm putting you in marriage and family counseling. Sorry, licensed mental health counselor from the company Palante dash movingforwardcoaching.com, PALANTE dash movingforwardcoaching.com. I'm grateful that she's spending the time with us here on the Suzette Speak Show live. And I wanted to ask you about that feeling where it's okay not to feel okay. You know, what does that phrase really mean for our listeners who are maybe in that space where they don't feel okay, they can't put language to it? What does that really mean?
So basically, as a therapist, I always talk about like I compulsively self-awareness. So when we think about it's okay to not feel okay, that phrase actually gives us permission with ourselves in reflection to whatever we are feeling. And what does that mean? You know, we have to be in tune with ourselves. You know, are we feeling sadness or anxious, stressed, overwhelmed? Without judgment, you know, not judging yourself, but allowing yourself to be in that self-awareness. And you know what happens when you start kind of having that conversation and allowing you to feel that without judgment? You are learning how to label that emotion. And by labeling that emotion, you're sending a signal to your brain. And you know what that next step, when you start practicing that, your brain actually calms down because you are labeling and you're allowing it and you're giving permission. So it makes it easier as we do that to choose the next healthy step. Whether talking to a friend, you know, going to church, connecting with the community, stepping outside a simple for fresh air and a mindfulness walk, or even calling a helpline instead of bottling up, because usually when we don't know how not to feel okay, we internalize that. And that's when our mental health gets out of balance.
Amen. Sis, you're preaching, and I hope somebody is really listening and understanding that it is okay to feel like you're not okay. And as Miss Sandra Alvarado Raymond, also known as Sandy, is telling us and teaching us today, is that step one is acknowledging. Step one is acknowledging, right? That also brings a bit of peace to say, "Ooh, I don't feel well mentally," right? As Caribbean people, as people of color, we were taught, I'm just gonna speak for myself, Miss Sandy, you know, bury those emotions. I think about my dad. Praise God. I love the man, but unfortunately, he wasn't taught how to feel feelings, right? To this day, he's very stoic and he keeps it all bottled inside. And many of us, you know, learned that pattern. And unfortunately, when you keep your emotions bottled up and you don't get to release them, like she said, even if it's going to church, even if it's talking to a friend, even if it's getting counseling, even if it's calling a helpline, right? Speaking in a small group. I say there are so many mental health events this month. Going to one of those mental health. Have you acknowledged May as Mental Health Awareness Month yet? So there are times in which we don't feel okay. And I wanted to ask you about that. And so she's telling me step one, telling us step one is acknowledging that feeling, not being afraid to say, whoa, I feel very overwhelmed right now. I do not feel, you know, like myself. And I wanted to ask you specifically, again, I'm on the line with Miss Sandra Alvarado Raymond. She's a licensed mental health counselor. Her organization is called Palante, Moving Forward. Therapy and coaching. You can find it at PALANTE dash movingforwardcoaching.com. And I want to ask you about this thing called anxiety. When I talk to my friends, even in my own self, let me not talk about other people. Let me talk about me. Let me talk about a Suzette. Yeah. Suzette is speaking, right? That I felt anxiety when I have, you know, we have 10 jobs. Welcome to the United States. People say people migrated so that they could bust their butt and feel, you know, overwhelmed so they could take vacation back home in the islands, right? But here we are, nonetheless. And, you know, how can you tell if you are actually experiencing, you know, anxiety or depression? What everyday signs should people watch out for that might indicate anxiety and depression? Or depression?
So before I jump into that, I've been a therapist for 16 years. And just to shed a little bit of light, to you, Suzette, I have seen how our Caribbean, and especially our Caribbean and men, and I have come to therapy. So just that is, in the 16 years, I've seen that increase. And that's good news.
That's wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes, yes. And I jump in joy when I have, whether it's a male or someone Hispanic or Caribbean that say I need help. So just to let you know that there's a lot of people recognizing this. But moving forward in reference to your question, there are clues of anxiety and depression. And for anxiety, the most common emotional and mental is excessive worry, overthinking, difficulty concentrating, irritable, feeling on the edge. It also, your physical, fast heartbeat, sweating, and so forth, so on. So that is when the anxiety and overthinking and your sleep disturbance. Then with depression, it's also sleep, whether you are oversleeping or not sleeping, with insomnia, your appetite, and there are like 9 symptoms that you, as a therapist, we assess. So whether it's your weight change, overeating or undereating, and by the way, anxiety and depression, their symptoms are very alike. So when we do the assessment, we really have to pinpoint. And also, withdrawing from friends and families for hobbies, just not feeding yourself. So remember, Suzette, that the mind and body is connected. So simple being anxious and depressed could could contribute to have persistent ache, headaches, and even gut issues without recognizing. And 92% of people that go to their primary doctor and they report physical ache, they will come back with nothing wrong with them, and it all goes to the stress, overwhelmness, anxiety.
You are teaching us today. I'm so grateful she's here. Sandra Alvarado Raymond from Palante, Moving Forward Therapy and Coaching. You can find her website, Palanta. Oh, sorry, T-A. Palante. Palante. Palante dash movingforwardcoaching.com. She's here spending time with us on the Suzette Speaks Show. We are grateful to have her here. She has given us some amazing knowledge. We are doing our self-check, and I know there are listeners who, like me, I'm listening to you, darling, and I'm saying, well, that kind of sounds like me sometimes. So you're not alone if you're listening when she talks about irritability, right? More irritable than usual. Now, some of us, we use the term in the Caribbean, some people miserable, right? That you always have a little edge. I'm not talking about that. Shout out to my mommy, but not talking about that. But beyond your norm, things set you off. You are much more sensitive. You are much more, highly sensitive to what's happening around you. You are overthinking. You are spending a lot more time worrying. You are not able to sleep, right? We're just describing. Again, you have to go to a practitioner to diagnose, but we're describing some symptoms just in case you're sitting there in your car, on your job, listening online, wherever you are. And we want to make sure you're paying attention, right? We cannot help others adequately if we do not help ourselves adequately. So think about that, right? And as she's describing, a lot of us have symptoms in other ways: eating more, eating less, sleeping more, sleeping less, right? And sometimes you think it has to do with your stomach, and it's something called psychosomatic. Your pain is in your stomach, but the pain is really in your heart and in your spirit and in your mind. So we think we're treating it, with the herbs and for the stomach and whatnot and cleansing this and that. But sometimes it's the spirit and the mind that need the help, right? And it's okay to ask for help. So let's talk about ways in which people who might be sitting here understanding, whoa, I never thought of myself as more irritable or, short-tempered than usual, or things set me off more than usual, or I'm crying more than usual, or I'm sad more than usual, or I'm staying in my bed more than usual. Sis, my brothers, I've been there. Yes? So there's no shame in it. Oftentimes we try to mask it. Some of the happiest people, will oftentimes be facing the most, depressive challenges in their minds because we learn to camouflage it. So we got to get real, folks. And as we talk about where people can turn for help, I'm again on the phone with Miss Sandra Alvarado Raymond, licensed mental health counselor. And she's here talking on behalf of, celebrating Mental Health Awareness Month. May is Mental Health Awareness. So I wanted to bring you quality, folks who can talk about and enlighten us on what we can do if we're feeling, not like ourselves. So let's talk about some crisis helplines. I know the United States government, they had opened the suicide prevention line. I believe it's 988. I think is you have to press star, or is it pound? Is it 988? And then we have locally, I know in Broward County, it's 211, and they have a special number again for community resources. If whatever county you're listening from, if you're even listening abroad, you can dial your municipal government. Oftentimes has helplines if people can't pay bills, if they're short on their, the rent, the water bill, things like this, or they need crisis intervention, which is what we're talking about, right? So if someone, even someone a loved one, is in crisis, how do the 9888, excuse me, two numbers, 988 Lifeline and the 211 services work? And, tell us when we should call them, when we should consider calling them.
So one of the things I want to say is, and in self-disclosure, Suzette, even therapists sometimes need therapy, right? And so with that being said, I have experienced anxiety, trying to open a new business when I first started and everything that comes in life. And I went ahead and got the help, even though I know what to do with my clients, but even having on being on the other side and getting the support as a human being, right? So this is not like, oh, therapists don't need therapy. Absolutely wrong. But I want to tell you is that when there's thoughts like, what is the point? And going back to the mask, sometimes many of us are functioning what is called functioning depression or functioning anxiety. But guess what? That is all trickled down and it's parking in your body. It comes down to your body. So even though you say I have it under control, you think you have it under the carpet, but it is definitely impacting your mind and your body. So keep that in mind.
Yes.
Back to your questions, is the crisis helpline is the 988 and 211. And so when there is a crisis, someone is experiencing a psychotic episode or are overwhelmed or a panic attack or even suicidal ideation. And by the way, talking about suicide is not going to make anybody commit suicide.
Absolutely. And that's okay if you ask people that. I ask people, have you thought about hurting yourself or taking your life? You sometimes have to ask it that way, and it's okay to ask them. It's not going to make them do it. Thank you for pointing that out.
And that is back to the connection that we need as human beings, right? To have that person to be there for you and ask that question if that's something that has come up. So calling 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline is when someone is feeling to the point that something is extremely wrong. I need help. And even if they're not at the crisis stage, but they're questioning and having suicidal ideation, their life is out of control and they cannot put themselves together. And so keep in mind that they are 24/7 and it's confidential support. You can also chat. If you prefer chatting, you can go to 988lifeline.org. And it's for if you're emotional distress, overwhelming, just pick up pick up your phone or go on chat and speak to them. An important point, if you are a veteran and you call the 988, please press 1 because they have a special service or department for veterans. And if you're a Spanish speaker, please press 2. So that's what 988. Now the next one is 211. And a lot of us don't have insurance or don't know how to go about getting the help. If you dial 211, there are trained specialists that could, first of all, could help you de-escalate a crisis and connect you to local service, whether it's a mobile crisis team, shelter, food, rent, help, counseling at any time of the day. Because remember, whatever is happening in our life could affect our mental health, whether we're experiencing a loss of work, grief, that it all contributes. So the 211. And if you call the 211 and you are in Palm Beach or you are in Miami, they will direct you to that county.
All right, I love it. I'm here with Miss Sandry. I want to say Sandy and Sandra together. Sandra Alvarado Raymond. She's a licensed mental health counselor. Her company name is Palante. Tell me about that meaning real quick. Palante, moving forward coaching. Tell us about your background.
I'm originally from New York. My parents are from the Dominican Republic. And it's really quick. I went water rafting in the Dominican Republic, and I was not very coordinated, and I was going backwards when it was Palante, and the guy would say, Palante, Palante, Sandy, Palante. So for me, moving forward has a lot of meaning in my personal life. It has been like my motivation mantra, like moving forward when I go through all the stages of my life. And so when I decided to open register my business, I said Palante because Palante in Spanish is almost like you could do it, right? Because you say Palante. And then I said moving forward. So I wanted to serve, both communities. So I mixed them and said Palante moving forward.
I love it. Again, you can find her at www.palante, Palante dash movingforwardcoaching.com. Sandy, I'm loving the conversation. Again, we were talking about if you need help, if you have suicidal ideation, you can call 988. And also there's a website if you prefer to type in the chat and chat to someone. It's confidential, right? 988lifeline.com. There are ways in which .org, 988lifeline.org. 988lifeline.org. And again, it is okay not to be okay. That's why we're doing this show. We want to bring awareness to our community, and I'm so grateful to have Miss Sandra Alvarado Raymond here, sharing her knowledge as a licensed mental health counselor with us. We have about a few more minutes, Sandy, and I wanted to just get into, so there's help, 211, right? 988. And again, don't sit in silence. And the question I have for you next is something I'm very passionate about, because you guys know I'm very big in the community. You want to call me a community activist. Some people have told me I'm in the business of community care, which I didn't even know there was like a thing called community care. But a lot of people suffer in silence alone. And so I wanted you to tell us how connecting with community groups, right? There used to be a time where we got out the house, we got out the bed, we left where, COVID got us very, very, used to being inside, staying at home, right? And talk about how connecting with community groups or activities actually improves our mental health.
Well, we are social beings. I was just doing a workshop on mental health, and one of the first things that when I start working with a client that is going through anxiety or depression, I ask them, "What is your support group, or what is your hobby?" And so, with that being said, just being connected. We are human beings cannot live. We're all like from different islands, right? But we cannot live in the island by ourselves. And so research shows that volunteering, being out there connected, joining groups activities, because loneliness is a creator of depression and anxiety.
Amen.
So it lowers our anxiety and it lowers our depression. So when I start working with that client, I see how I do the assessment. And when they start connecting and doing things, their scores goes down. So share a purpose, and it boosts our brain, our social bonding, the chemistry, and the sense of meaning. So that's what's important. And there's a lot of ways of doing these type of things. if you want me to share with you.
Yeah, I know we have about 5 minutes. We're having such a great conversation. I'm here with Miss Sandy Alvarado Raymond Palante, moving forward, coaching, therapy, and coaching. She's here giving us her knowledge. It's mental health awareness, y'all. This is the Suzette Speak Show. She's been giving us some insights on what we can do to help improve our mental health. We've been talking about the emergency lines that are available. Of course, being social. Social support is very important to keeping us well. When you find yourself not having a group or an activity that you enjoy outside of work, where you can, let your hair down, be free, laugh, and engage and connect to other people, that alone can help improve our mental health. So I know that's very true for me when I'm getting a little bit, down. A social setting where I can connect with people definitely helps boost my mood, boost my mental health. And I wanted to talk to you in the time we have left. Of course, people might need actual counseling and therapy, right? So sometimes the cost is a challenge. So I wanted you to talk about affordable or free options, especially here in South Florida, that are available for people looking to boost their well-being.
So basically, 211 is the first place to call because you will have 211 will have information of community low cost mental health, right? And also another place, Henderson Behavioral Health Clinic. And you also could call the NAMI organization where it has a number which I'm going to say 1-800-950-6264. And that provides free nationwide peer support group, resource referral, and so forth, and mental health referrals if you need a counselor. So there's way, but if you don't remember this number, just call 211. But going back to kind of boosting ourselves in South Florida, we have so much things for free, like yoga in the park and the beach. That's way to go. Suzette Eventbrite. You could find all of that. Just do a search. Broward County Library and Miami County Library has meditation and movement and stretch classes. The city of Miramar, my city, has yoga class and has a lot of things around the mental health workshops and connections. And so, depending on what city you are located, you could contact your city and let them know what events and what mental health events and what kind of things are out there for you at any time. Many cities have so much to offer.
Yes, ma'am. We have about 2 minutes. Yeah, yes, I want to conclude because I have a question online. Shout out to the Stephanie Humphrey channel. Yes, we are live and people are on my YouTube watching, on Voice of the Caribbean page watching, in the app watching. So you can watch us as we host as well as listen. And you can always call in. If you want Miss Sandy's information, you can call in even after my show is done here at 2. You can call in 850-446-0562. You know the station number at Voice of the Caribbean. We'll get you her information. I see Stephanie online mentioning the term mindfulness in about 30 seconds. Can you tell us what mindfulness is and the role it can play as we wrap up in terms of helping improve our well-being?
Oh my God, mindfulness is the thing. I am a mindfulness therapist. So mindfulness is a practice of being in the present moment, in the here and now. And there's different ways of practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness walking, connecting to nature. Mindfulness meditation, breathing. Just starting your day, breathing in and out. Start with 2 minutes, expanding your belly when you breathe in, and exhaling and letting everything out. And just practice meditation.
It's a key word, and I'm gonna pause you there. I hate to interrupt you because we literally only have a minute left. Forgive me. We have to bring her back, even if it's June. I want to have you back because you've given us such great information. So, guys, you can always look up that word mindfulness and see how you can apply that to your life. I just want to, before we leave in the last 60 seconds, could you walk us through a quick self-check or coping tool our listeners can start using right now? If people are saying, I don't know, I kind of don't feel well, it's not me though, I can push through, I'm a strong black, hey, fill in the blank, I can do what I can do. Tell us more about how we can do that self check and what last, takeaway you want our listeners to remember. Go ahead. 1 minute.
The first self check that I could say is building self awareness to your heart, your soul, and your brain. And the second I want to say is start to have a conversation with yourself. And the third thing I'm going to say that some people talk out loud and say, hey, Sandra, hey, Suzette, what is going on? What am I feeling? And just sit in your space, breathe in and breathe out, journal, and kind of see what your body and your mind is telling you, and just let it be without judgment and compassion and kindness. Allow yourself to feel, allow to be in the self-awareness. And that is a way to do this.
94.3 LPFM.
Miss Sandra, we are out of time. That's my cue. I appreciate you being here today. We are so grateful for your knowledge and for your wisdom that you have given our listeners. One last time, can you tell everyone how to contact you? Again, this is Miss Sandra Alvarado Raymond from Palante Moving Forward Therapy and Coaching. Go ahead.
Instagram, Palante Moving Forward, and my phone number is 786-326-6522.
Thank you for spending time with us, sister. You're getting a lot of love online. Everybody's cheering you and thanking you for your expertise and your knowledge. And of course, if you guys want more information about Sandra Alvarado Raymond, you can reach out here at the station and we'll be sure to get that to you. You have a wonderful day, my dear. And thank you for spending time with us here on the Suzette Speak Show. You too. You take care. All the best to my watchers, to my listeners. I thank you for rocking with us. Again, we're trying to bring you new types of conversations, different types of guests, and conversations that will elevate, also entertain you a little bit. But you can always catch me right here on Voice of the Caribbean Radio. Suzette Speaks Live. And I have a lot more events I'll be hosting. Can't wait to tell you all about them. Shout out to Mike for rescuing me on the board. Y'all be good. I'll see you next week. Have an awesome weekend. Everybody take care of yourselves.
And sexual abuse cases. We know it is impossible to go longer than 5 minutes before you hear a commercial from another person in July.